You're not broken. You're just being called to finally live.
If you've arrived at this video, it's likely because you've reached that quiet but unbearable threshold where something deep inside refuses to remain silent any longer. You might not be able to pinpoint it precisely, yet you feel with certainty that continuing as before is no longer possible. It's as though a fracture has opened within, a hidden split that separates the person you truly are from the image you've been presenting to the world. This isn't an accident. It's a stage every human eventually encounters. An internal breakdown that many dismiss, numbing themselves with routine or freezing under the weight of change. But for some like you, that fracture becomes a summons, a powerful pull that cannot be ignored. Carl Gustav Jung described this as the call to individuation, the soul's refusal to remain trapped behind masks crafted for acceptance, survival, and approval. What you're watching is not just a video, it's a mirror, a symbolic reflection that finds you at the exact moment your rational mind runs out of answers, while your unconscious has already decided it is time to move. This is when normal life begins to show its true face. A mechanized existence shaped by expectations, obligations, and unfulfilled promises. Maybe you're in a relationship that quietly drains your vitality, or in a job that sustains your bills but slowly extinguishes your spirit. Maybe the cage is subtler, fear of disapproval, shame at disappointing others, or the heavy path chosen for you but never by you. Jung warned that the real peril of modernity is not chaos, but unconscious adaptation, slipping into lives that are not truly ours without even realizing it. That is why suffering appears as a last resort when the psyche has exhausted its gentler warnings. Dreams, burnout, subtle crises, when ignored, grow louder until discomfort transforms into despair, doubt into anguish, fatigue into collapse. And then something shifts. Suddenly you start noticing the exact messages, images, and symbols you need to awaken, not because the universe is casting magic spells, but because your soul is actively searching for escape routes. That's how you found this video. Jung explained that the unconscious carries symbolic intelligence, surfacing only when the ego is finally ready to listen. You may think you stumbled here by chance, yet there is no accident in matters of the soul. This message is not a quick remedy, nor is it motivational fluff. It is a challenge, an invitation to face the things you've been avoiding. Fear, shame, resentment, guilt, boredom, frustration. These emotions aren't flaws. They are signals that your current structure is collapsing under its own weight. You are not damaged. You are being nudged toward rebirth, and this moment cannot be delayed. Most people shuffle through existence like well-functioning machines. Wake up, work, obey, consume, repeat. This is called normal, but it is not healthy. It is simply widespread. From childhood, you were told to seek stability, follow the rules, stay quiet, be grateful, and conform. But conform to what, to whom? Jung, in The Undiscovered Self, warned that the greatest threat is not madness or misery, but massification. Becoming a replaceable cog in a system that prizes uniformity above authenticity. When you feel suffocated by your own daily life, that is not dysfunction. It is a message. A silent declaration. This is not who you are. You may have followed all instructions, study, career, partner, smiling photos, and yet a hollowness lingers. Like a part of you watches from the outside. That disconnection is not pathology. It is awareness breaking through. The persona you built to adapt is no longer enough to sustain you. The normal life you were promised is a polished trap. It offers approval, stability, acceptance, but at the cost of your spontaneity and truth. Over time, you forget who you really are. Adaptation is necessary, Jung said, but becomes destructive when it demands self-abandonment. Millions live like this, emotionally numbed, spiritually drained, existentially lost. Distractions keep the system in place. Endless shows, delivery apps, dopamine from likes, substitutes to prevent the terrifying question, am I living or just existing? You might try drowning the discomfort with productivity, entertainment, or shallow connections, but nothing silences a soul in crisis. When you finally begin to question, the world tells you the problem is you. It's stress, it's anxiety, you just need a break. But deep down you know this is not mere tiredness. It is despair. What feels like collapse is actually awakening. The illusion of normality is the slow death of the soul. Jung warned, the unlived life is a sickness, and most people die from it one day at a time. But there is a way forward, and it begins with dismantling the false life. Your unrest, your unease, your exhaustion are not signs of weakness. They are the doorway to transformation. What falls apart is not you, but the character you created to endure. The suffering you feel is proof of your strength, because only a maturing soul can face emptiness without anesthesia. The unconscious deliberately produces these symptoms when the ego resists growth. Anxiety, apathy, insomnia, confusion. These are not obstacles. They are the path. They force you to pause, to question, to shed what no longer serves you. Yet society urges you to get back to normal. Take a pill, read a book, breathe, move on. But that normal is what poisoned you. You don't need to return. You need to move through. You don't need fixing. You need liberation. This pain is not a curse, but a threshold. If resisted, it becomes chronic. If embraced, it becomes initiation. Painful, yes. Slow, yes. But real, necessary, and transformative. Jung taught that individuation begins the moment you refuse to remain half alive. The moment you recognize the necessity of integrating the hidden. Your repressed emotions, denied desires, unresolved wounds. This is not luxury. It is survival. You are not collapsing. You are navigating the uncharted territory of your soul. Every silence, every tear, every moment of confusion is part of the passage. At this stage, synchronicities appear, symbols, encounters, messages, even videos that arrive exactly when you need them. Jung called this synchronicity, the meaningful connection between inner change and outer events. Your unconscious orchestrates these patterns not by magic, but by necessity, drawing toward you what catalyzes growth. These signs whisper, they don't shout. They stir something deep, undeniable. A book falling into your hands, a line of music that moves you to tears, a dream that repeats night after night. Ignore them, and you ignore your own evolution. Until you make the unconscious conscious, Jung said, it governs your life while you call it fate. Listening transforms the unconscious from a hidden saboteur into a subtle ally. And this video is one such sign. But signs alone are not enough. They ask for action. And that means stepping into fear, the gateway that separates the counterfeit life from the authentic one. The leap is terrifying. It means leaving behind guarantees, maps, roles, and even approval. It means facing the dragon of resistance, voices that whisper you're crazy, unprepared, reckless, or selfish. But those voices fight for survival, because when you leap, the old self dies. And here lies the paradox. Fear is not a cue to turn back. It is the marker that you're exactly where you need to be. Behind fear lies your real life. Not appearances, not survival, presence, authenticity, meaning. No one feels ready for this. Readiness isn't the point. The point is reaching the limit where pretending is no longer possible. That is the threshold. And you are standing on it. But here's the hardest truth. No one else can make this leap for you. No partner, no teacher, no therapist, no savior. You've been conditioned to wait for validation, timing, instructions. But waiting is another trap. Jung emphasized that individuation cannot be delegated. It is your road and yours alone. Radical responsibility does not mean you're to blame for what harmed you. It means you're accountable for what you do next. Healing is your task, and no system, person, or promise will rescue you. This is where maturity begins. When you stop outsourcing your freedom, stop asking for permission, and begin rebuilding, quietly, without guarantees, but with dignity. So what lies on the other side of fear? Jung's answer: life itself. The life you came here to live but have postponed too long, and now the choice is yours. Continue dragging yourself through a false existence, or cross the threshold and begin living. There will be no clearer sign, no manual, no savior, only this choice here and now. If this message resonates, leave a small declaration: I choose to cross. Not for me, for yourself. Naming it is claiming it. Writing it is sealing it. This may be the first conscious act of the new life that awaits you. And if this video reached you at exactly the right moment, don't stop here. The next step awaits and your journey has already begun.